Other things we've been thinking about
Did you
are
just talk about fueling it? How we're fueling the wood gasifier?
well, the wood gasifier, what we're planning on doing is we're thinking about getting a wood chipper, and then we found out that those tree guys, they'll dump their wood chips because they want to get rid of it. So they'll just dump their wood chips off at your place. So we figure if we need to, we'll get a wood chipper, but until then, we'll save a couple $1,000 and let them dump at our place for free. So. No, and that's another issue with like the heat ones you can take cordwood, which is really nice. The problem with this type is it needs to kind of flow in top down, and so they need to and you can't do it. And so that's one of the issues they have with them is fuel feeding. So wood chips work well with them, pellets work well with them. We're not big fans of pellets because we can't make pellets. So basically that's always what we're thinking about is like, okay, do we want that? Can we use it? Yes. Can we make it? No. And then it kind of goes lower on the scale of things. So like we bought this wood gasifier, but it's definitely something that somebody handy with like metalworking stuff could make without a problem.
We want to eventually make them, so this was like our prototype to
Microphone.
Yeah. So and then so that's why we don't like the solar panels either, because we can't make solar panels.
Mention the horse manure.
Yeah, so then the other thing we're looking at, which part of the horse manure?
Just that you can run it in
and the cool thing too is we, just for fun, we put horse manure in the wood gasifier to see if we could gasify that, and we were producing burnable gas off of that. So, I mean, you can gasify like anything. You can put plastics in them. I don't think this one's really designed for plastics, but it's just a neat technology where you can get a usable fuel relatively easily. We're not doing the plastic stuff, and I do think there's issues with that sort of stuff, but I'm just talking about just the concept of gasification. I think they do use plastics and stuff at like big generation plants, but you probably would have some issues. With the wood, however, it's just your typical stuff, except your carbon monoxide is much higher than it would normally be, so that is something you have to watch out from. Before you're burning that gas stream, whether you have like an open pilot light on it or you're running it in the generator, it's 30% carbon monoxide. It'll kill you. No, you actually burn the carbon monoxide. A lot of times you don't realize carbon monoxide is a flammable gas and it burns really well. So if you're running it in an engine, it burns directly in the engine. Normally, if we're not running something right then, we just there's a burner that you just light, so all that stuff, it's just burning it off.
So I take it since this stove produces carbon monoxide, it has to be outside.
Yes, well, I would say 100%. People have been talking about putting these things in their houses, and I just do not see that as being a good idea. The other issue with it is because you have all of this poisonous gas, nobody likes storing it. So it's like you burn it as you're going to be powering whatever you're going to use with it. Because say you stored it in a tank or something, and your tank were to burst, you could literally have a cloud of carbon monoxide that would just kill everything, within 50 feet of it or whatever. It's not your best fuel source there. So, I mean, you do want to watch it. And that's another point I'm just going to mention while I'm at this. Everything we do is dangerous, so you have to be careful with everything. I mean,
safety first, just like handling a gun.
Yeah, we just think of it as gun safety all the time. It's like when I'm using a chainsaw, like you can kill yourself real quick with one of those. And so toxic gases, flammable liquids, it's all, you just have to be safe with everything. Go ahead.
Repeat the question.
Yes, he asked, are we minimizing the danger by burning it as we create it? Yes, because once you burn it, it's just CO2 and your nitrogen, so there's nothing toxic in it once you've burned it through your engine. And so that's why you kind of set it up as an inline thing, so you can do that. And there's all sorts of fun things you can make methanol from a wood gas stream through a catalyst. So there's all sorts of fun things. So I won't get too much into those because I talk for hours. But the other thing too is we're looking at is, the other things we've been playing around with is we made biodiesel because the butcher in town, we butcher pigs, and the butcher in town ends up with tubs full of lard. And I was just thinking, I was like, isn't that like oil? Can't you make biodiesel out of that? So went online, looked up how to make biodiesel, set it up, and made biodiesel. And a lot of people are like dangerous, and we're like everything's dangerous, so we did it anyway. And again, you're dealing with toxic chemicals there, so you want to be well ventilated and all that type of stuff. But the main thing is with some of this stuff, it's like try it. Be careful when you do it, but try everything, because people will tell you something's hard to do, and it's not that difficult to do.
Right, so I mean, one of the ways we do go about this is we read a lot. I mean, the internet is really a great source for figuring all this stuff out. So we read, we try it, and then we read some more, because after you get some experience, reading some more gives you better information.
And talk to people.
And talk to people, clearly. Your neighbors know lots more about lots of things than you do, and they're more than happy to help. It's cool.
Yeah, we found everybody up here, like, they just want to give us everything. It's just like, oh, here, borrow my tractor, borrow this. And it's like, I don't need it, but thanks. So, yeah, everybody's just been really, really friendly. So we've had a blast since we've been up here.
There's a question
Go ahead.
With biodiesel, have you run up into any regulatory problems? Because I know there was usually some concern about being a refinery.
We live in the middle of 210 acres, and nobody can see our house. So, you know, we couldn't do anything if we followed every regulation. I mean, like, once we get into the farming stuff, that's just as bad as anything else is. With the USDA and stuff, it's ridiculous what you can and can't do, and it has nothing to do with safety. It just has to do with keeping the little guys out of things and big business, big government. So yeah, certain things like that. I mean, the main thing with the biodiesel is a lot of producers that make it kind of flush their toxic stuff down the toilet, which is not something you want to do. And for us, since it's our place, we don't want to destroy it, and we don't have sewers to dump it into. We have to figure out how to clean that process up, and you can recover the methanol out of it, you can neutralize the acid. So, I mean, there's a lot of things you can do, so it's a clean source to get rid of. If you do it sloppy, it's very toxic stuff, and you pollute the groundwater, all sorts of things like that. So, and this, honestly, I am learning about this. We just made a test batch to see how it went, and it worked. So to us, that's like, all right, we're going to try more stuff now in regards to that. So I'm in the process of building a processor so we can get 50 gallons in a shot. Because the nice thing about the biodiesel is it's a transportation fuel. The wood gas isn't really a transportation fuel. I mean, people in World War II in Europe, there was like 2 million vehicles running off of wood gas because they couldn't get oil. So FEMA actually has these plans on how to make gasifiers in case of a national emergency.
Yeah, and a lot of these new, amazing alternative energy technologies that you hear about, they're actually usually traditional old ones.
Yeah, I mean, nothing was designed to run off of gasoline. It's just like, they made cars and then they're like, oh, oil got cheap, so they switched to it and forgot about all the old technologies. So, people run cars off of methanol, ethanol, biodiesel, all this. Like, the diesel engine was invented for biodiesel, not for, and then they found a way to make it out of petroleum stuff. So, so a lot of these things that we think are so typically gasoline or petroleum based, they were converted to that because that fuel source became so cheap. Another thing that I really like the idea of that warrants more exploration is biodigestion. Basically, you take all your cow manure and you put it into a tank and you get methane off of it. Yes. So that's the interesting thing with a lot of these too. There's sometimes to produce your energy, you have to use some energy to do that. So it's interesting finding a balance of like, I don't want to use too much energy to produce it because then it's not worthwhile. And there's interesting things with that too about whether it's for a stationary fuel to make a liquid fuel, because you may want to do that. And I was telling you, you can use the wood gas to make methanol, which can be a transportation fuel. So it's interesting how you can kind of change one, like a stationary fuel, into a transportable fuel. And there's a lot of neat stuff in that. Like I said, I could start talking about this stuff for hours. So yeah, we really like to get methane because all our propane stuff in the house will run off of methane. So if we could have a nice supply of that, we have oxen, pigs, all that stuff can get digested. You end up with compost at the end of it anyway. So it's like composting and getting free power out of it. We do the composting now anyway, so it'd be nice to get that extra benefit from it.
So, I just want to throw this in, but if you want to talk to Neil more about this stuff, because he has so much stuff in his head, buy him a beer later.
Or two.